Okay, so very quickly, this will be short. I just want to apply some of the knowledge and work we've done so far to the Bahamas. Okay, so I'm in the Bahamas Today book, page 121. All right, you can see down the bottom. So, origins of settlement. The Bahamas has about 250 settlements. Okay, all except about 20 being very small and providing providing few services. Okay, so we have about 250 settlements here. Most are very small, tiny. Alright, so if we were to do our hierarchy pyramid, we'd have mainly down here. Alright, now they started out, and we're straight into function here. Started out mainly as, you can underline, small ports, fishing villages, plantation communities during slavery, and then farming villages. Alright, so the name of the settlement is also a clue. So a lot of the settlements in the Bahamas are also a clue to its origin, how it started, and its original function. It may not still have the same function, but its original function could be obvious from the name. Just one example for port settlements, so settlements that grew up around ports or shipping. Marsh Harbour in Abaco, okay? It's called harbour because that's what its original purpose was. Alright? Many of the smaller communities are still named after the plantation owners or farmers who first settled there. So you've also got a lot of places, there's endless examples here, okay, of names of the people who owned the farms of the plantations originally. Alright, on to page 122. Okay, whatever their present size, almost without exception, settlements are getting smaller. Alright, so it's certainly on, I'm just going to write family islands. Again, the Bahamas is no exception. Most places in the world, the vast majority of people are now moving to cities. Okay, in about 2011, I think, was the first time ever that over 50% of the world's population lived in urban areas rather than rural. And that shows a huge shift from historically most people farmed or grew crops and stuff and kept animals out in the rural areas, or people lived in small little communities together. What tends to happen now is people move to cities. Most of you, if not all of you, will end up living in a large or medium-sized city. Okay? I'm sure some of you have already thought about the city you want to go and study in and stuff like that. So in the Bahamas, most of the settlements are actually getting smaller, and many more will disappear from the map as the younger generations migrate, which means move, and the older generations die off. Alright? So one exception to this maybe is the airport sites. These settlements have often grown in importance, although not always in population, and are likely to be centres of future growth. So one thing that has kept some settlements going on the family islands is the fact that they have a little airport, and that's where people come in and out of. Without that airport, those settlements would have disappeared. Okay? These airport cities provide the basic services on which the whole island depends, so that little place will stay. Then, some Bahamian settlements owe their existence to special circumstances, such as a particular economic activity. Okay, so again, the function of the area actually will mean whether a settlement keeps alive or not. Often, if the activity dies out, so does the settlement. All right, so if there was an activity there and it stops being profitable, everybody will leave. Okay, in the case of logging companies, okay, Matthewtown in Agua was virtually abandoned after the salt industry collapsed. All right, but then it's been revived again when the salt industry was resurrected or restarted. So again, people will come and go as there's jobs and services. If those disappear, the people will not stay around either. And on page 123 then, just in Bahamas Today, couple of examples. Alistown, Bimini depend on tourism, and specifically the deep sea fishing and cruising activity. Alright, so if tourism did stop for some reason, a lot of the settlements in the Bahamas would disappear because a lot of people would lose their jobs, there'd be no livelihood, and they'd move elsewhere. Alright, tourism is also responsible for some new settlements, okay, Paradise Island and New Providence. So tourism is a huge player here. Alright, and that would then become the function. If the function changes or leaves and isn't profitable or economical, then people will shortly leave after. Settlements are therefore not permanent, as we've said, okay, and undoubtedly the present trend is for the population to depend more and more on one or two larger settlements. So what seems to happen is more and more people are converging into large settlements like cities, which then supply all of the services you need, so people rarely even leave the city. Okay, they just go to the airport in that city, they fly to another city, stay there, fly back, and so on. Okay. We have this idea of primacy. Now we'll start next week with that. All right, this idea of a primate city. A primate city is one that dominates the rest of its country. It's not always the capital city, all right, but it is the primate city. And again, a good example of everything we've just said is Nassau. Okay, Nassau contains, I'd say this is much higher now, probably about 75% of the whole population of the country. Okay, because it has the most jobs, the most education centres, the most hospitals, the most entertainment and stuff like that. So people will flock here from other islands. Okay, remember to check your assignments. I'm posting it right now for next Friday.